There's a few things that you need to kind of take into consideration as you're building your influence. The first thing is you want to start with a firm foundation. I am an avid believer that if you don't know yourself or you don't know how to lead yourself, you'll never be able to lead anybody else or influence anyone else. If we don't have a foundation of who we are in Christ, who we are as a woman, who we are in His plan for our destiny, we're not going to be able to hold it all together. So we have to have that foundational level put in place. And we grow that over time. And part of that is done by staying in the Word and just remembering who we are and talking to God and just continuing to build our confidence up. So I want you to know that you need to start with a firm foundation. And if you don't have that, go back and get it. It's never too late to start building a firm foundation that you can work off of to become the influencer that God has created you to be. So your influence on your children and the next generation, and even if you don't have children, you are influencing the next generation, is huge. And so I don't want you to miss those places in the Bible where women have an influence and you have an influence. And when you don't think that you're being watched, I promise you, you are. And what I love about the Proverbs 31 woman, which I think we miss in all the accolades that she gets, is Proverbs 31:30. And it says, "Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised." Those are the characteristics, or that is the characteristic that defines everything about the Proverbs 31 woman. So you have to be a woman who fears the Lord to carry the influence that you need. The next thing is that we have to be influenced and we have to influence. And when we talk about that in America, we talk about being mentored and having a mentor. But then you also need to grow and turn around and be the woman who turns around and grabs the next woman and brings her along. It says iron sharpens iron as one person sharpens another. Who is the iron in your life that's helping you get sharp? Teach another woman how to be so respectful in her home to her husband that she becomes a great influence. And so when I look at those verses, I understand that when you're a Christian, when you claim to love Jesus, you should behave in a certain way. And if you have a young woman coming behind you, or even someone to the side of you, you need to teach them how to live the correct way in Christ, because then their influence will rise. People will see something different in them. And that's really what the scriptures were talking about. There is a vision and a plan and a dream for you, but sometimes as humans, we want to decide what it is. And we'll get off track when we do that. You need to ask God what the vision is to make sure it's correct. Don't look to your sister to the right and the left. They have a job too, and there is so much to be done in this world that we don't need to compete and we don't need to be jealous of each other. We need to hold each other up. And that's what the She Steps Forward movement is kind of about, women empowering women, because that's the way it should be. And then you need to make a move. Part of the reason that I named the conference She Steps Forward is that in our congregations, there's a lot of people sitting back and they're not moving. They've become spectators on a Sunday morning. It's on their checklist to do for the day. And what you need to do is you gotta break out of that. Don't get caught up in that. You've gotta step out and start making moves. God's not gonna give it to you all at once, but He's never gonna give it to you if you don't move. So movement is so important to the heart of God. And then you need to be steadfast in what you're doing. And Teresa emphasized this a little bit, but let me emphasize it from this way. Life is gonna happen. You can either go with it or you can push against it. If God is for you, who can be against you? You've got to stand on what He's given you.